Merry Christmas! It's Erica of AriBo Arts, and even though it's Christmas, we're here for some bat making. Got my second mug of tea here. Yeah, it is a little dark, so my cup needs to be cleaned. But still working on the basic black. I will get into the fancier teas as the day progresses. Even though I'm actually going to head down to the dye lab today, because I'm on a roll with the dyeing, and I'm just going to keep going. Also because I need to have all my dyeing done before I leave for a trip in January. Hopefully I won't get any fiber in here today. So what we're doing today is not really a Christmas bat, though there are a couple perhaps Christmassy colors. I'm trying to use up some bits and bobs of fiber so I don't have to count them for inventory. So I've got what's left of some Cheviot. This was from, actually it's from Brilliant Creatives, which is actually I think where the other braid I'm using is. Yes. So these are both from Amy. So this is actually Cheviot. This is a merino. It's not a particularly soft merino, but it's a sort of black. Black's a really hard color to do, so it's got some purple tones to it. So those are my two main fibers. And then I'm going to oomph it up with, this is actually some mohair from Jana Rolston. I got this at Michigan Fiber Festival. So I'm going to just use this as an add-in. And to pick up sort of the more warmer tones, I've got this sort of, I don't know what color, is that peachy coral, whatever, silk, that's from Frivolous You. I have a tiny little bit of black bamboo, so I'm going to use that up. And then and then I have this little sample from Curly Q, so it's just a little merino, but it's the same color almost as the Cheviot, so I'll use that, and then I'll pop it with some of this bio nylon. So no sparkly stuff today. Even though it's sort of a holiday, this is sort of what I'm feeling today. So we'll see how it goes. It's a different color combination than I would usually choose, but getting outside one's comfort zone is always nice. So first thing I'm going to do is undo this little braid, this little 1 ounce braid. So this is not going to be a huge bat. Just untwist all of this. There. Now this feels a little compacted, so what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to pull it in half. Actually, it feels like it wants to come in thirds, so let's do that. There. That'll make it a lot easier to deal with. So my choice is, let me tilt you down so you can see Sebastian, who we're working with today. So my choice is to do a half and a half, one color then the other. The other option is to sort of layer them so that when you spin it, you're going to get a lot of barber pulling, which is kind of where I'm leaning with this. There would be a stark contrast if I was to do the black and the green, but I'm feeling like I don't want to do that. I feel like I want to blend it, which is what's going to happen is it's going to darken the green. Let's see how, okay, 3, so I can do maybe 6 layers. So if I do, so I had 3 strips, tear those in half-ish. Oh, those are hard to pull apart. Yeah, there we go. So this definitely needs some fluffing. If you have a braid that's compacted, you can also steam it. I could run to the kitchen, except I'd trip over the tripod if I did that, because I have been boiling some brats. Not the typical way to cook them, but it gets a lot of the fat out of them because I pierce them. And when I head to the dye lab later, normally when I go to the dye lab, if it's like a mealtime and I'm hungry, I just pop over to the Hy-Vee, which is a Midwestern grocery store, and get something there. And usually they just reinstated the pizza. For last year, they haven't had pizza. I used to be able to get my pizza for $1.50 a slice. though some flavors were better than others. But then they closed down their pizza counter. It came back a month or two ago, and they're still $1.50, but they're running a $2 for 2 pieces or 2 slices. And so I've been eating a lot of pizza. But I can't do that today because, of course, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Also, I believe Hanukkah starts tonight, and I think Kwanzaa starts tomorrow. But they're closed today, so I am instead going to have to bring something. Because I'm doing it's my fiber reactive dyeing, so I'm doing the tie-dye, which is a 2-day process. Okay, so and if you're just doing like a couple of t-shirts, it doesn't take very long. But of course, I'm doing production quality, trying to fill a booth for a show I'm doing in February, actually a double booth. And so I'm very excited about that. But I need a lot of stock. And so yesterday I was down there. I usually do it like one washing machine load at a time. Okay, so let's find the bamboo. And so I did a load yesterday of dyeing, and then today is the washing. I can tell that bamboo is going to be hard to distinguish from the wool, from the black merino. Bamboo on there, and then pull out this little bit of green merino. It was a little freebie in a package. And as usual, I cannot see comments. So if you are leaving comments, I will respond afterwards. It's be faster. Yes, there we go. I'm just gonna randomly put that on. Okay, and now we have it's a mohair comb top. Okay. And I'm going to use it. Obviously, you could just spin it the way it was. But, it's very much mohair, so it's, and it's adult, so from what I can tell. So it's not super cuddly, but it is nice and drapey and silky. And so we're going to paint that on like this. I don't think I want a lot on there, but just enough to give it that little bit of pink. It sort of jazzes up the whole thing, and then we're going to add the yellow. I have 2 yellows. This one is called Sandcastle. This is a biodegradable nylon. So yes, I'll respond to comments afterwards, but if you feel like sharing, you can talk about what you're doing today. I'm treating it like a work day because I'm on a roll. I want to get stuff done. So that is one layer. Let's get another layer. I'm going to find the other half of that black I just used. If I can find it. I think it's this one right here. So my place is it's pretty warm outside. I think it's going to hit 40 today, which is rather warm. And also I've been, I had the broth boiling, so it's working like a humidifier, and it's warm air. So I'm a little warm actually. I can see my teacup rocking a little bit there. Let's grab that. Have a quick drink, and I can put it down. The trick I've learned is to put it under the tripod, because then I won't kick it. Okay, so that's that. Let's put on. Let's see what we're doing for amount of green. I got a nice e-card from my roommate for my trip. It was a Northern Lights trip, and so she sent me a Northern Lights e-card, which was like a little 45-second movie, animated, very nice. Okay, let's put on a bit of this. I think that's the bamboo. Yes. Cool. So when you get a club like that, you can always just pick it up and transfer it like that. So one of my family's, I'm going to call it a tradition, is that Christmas Eve and sometimes Christmas Day, all we eat are appetizers and sweet things. So I had the plan last night was once I got back from the dye lab, I had defrosted some shrimp and I was going to do shrimp cocktail. Traditionally, I'd also do some pickled herring. Lindgren is a Swedish name. But I forgot to get some, and I just decided I didn't want to brave going back to the grocery store. I actually went to the grocery store at 6:45 a.m. yesterday, which is a great time to go because there's hardly anybody there. And then I was like up and doing things, so that was really nice. But then, okay, there's that piece. This is definitely going to need to be fluffed a bit. So I didn't get any pickled herring. But since I am going to Scandinavia next month, I can get my pickled herring there, I'm sure. And I like the wine pickled stuff. I don't like the stuff that's like in cream sauces. So I'm gonna have to so I didn't have the shrimp cocktail last night because when I went in the fridge and I saw that one, I had the broths pulled out because I knew I had to make those, and two, I had leftover chicken. And I was like, and I'd gotten steak on sale, so I was like, okay, we're not. Let's eat some of this other stuff we have before we do the shrimp. So having the shrimp tonight. And then the brats I'm doing today. Looks like a little. No, it's just a little piece of fiber. Okay. The brats I'm cooking today are for lunch today and lunch tomorrow. Because the plan. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to get 3 more out of this. Yeah. The plan is to get up early tomorrow and go in and dye another load. And that should make it so that next week I only have to do 2 loads. If I've measured the weight of the bags of clothing I have to dye. Okay, let's push that all down. Yeah, it's pretty even. Okay. Bamboo. A little bit of fiber. There we go. Oh, I was going to put the silk in. I forgot about the silk. And we'll just start putting it in now. think that's going to go very well with the mohair here. I just don't want any big blobs of the mohair. And then the gold. And this weekend I'm hoping to make the family recipe of glug. Glug? We call it glug, which is a slight variant because someone in the family had a nut allergy, so the almonds never get used in our recipe. Lots of cardamom and cloves and orange peel, though I've been known to use like tangerine peel or whatever I have on hand. Let's put some more of this in there. Ours is made with port and brandy. And then I can drink it all that week of New Year's. So I may just make a half recipe. Okay, so we got that, Let's put on this. Silk is a mulberry silk. Everybody has any good name suggestions for this? Pop them in the comments, please. I'm gonna skip, since that's the only bamboo I have left, I'm going to skip that for this round. I think there's some stuck on the bio nylon here. Yeah, there's that little bit of bamboo that was on there. Okay, 2 more layers. So if you have a compacted braid and you want to break it apart, you can do sort of thin out that middle section wherever that you want to break it. You can also just break it in pieces. So as long as you get longer than the staple length. I can see. I don't know if you can see some of the purpley undertones there. Oh yeah, that comes through really well on the screen. At least on my end. I don't know what you're seeing, but yeah, I dyed up a bunch of t-shirts, a couple of dress styles, skirt, pair of harem pants, some bags. Oh, maybe we're not going to do a 5th layer or 6th layer. Let's see. No, it doesn't feel that thick. I think it's because it was a little bit cotted. Oh yeah, there's plenty of room. this piece off. And I think, let's just do that. Starting to get a little bit of transfer over here. Another sign that we're getting full. I'm going to try and get it all on. So I'm going to use it up. Press it down. Find the bamboo. Let's use half of it, or about half of it. Since this is not that visually different, I'm just going to put that on, use up the last of that. Silk. Hoping when I come back from the dye lab, I still have enough energy and I can either do some spinning or work on the pair of socks that I have been neglecting. I'm like at the toe, just to start forming the toe on the first sock. And so, okay, so let's see if we can get this last layer on. And actually, I'm going to quickly grab, oh, bamboo went on walkabout. Grab my tea for a second. Just making sure there's no fiber in it. I do want more fiber in my diet, just not this kind. Okay, let's get the last layer of black on here. Yeah, sometimes when I do a dye day, sometimes I'll do a double load, which is great because you get through twice as much. But what I've found is doing that usually tires me out so much that I'm not sure if it's a time save, because then I'm useless the next. Because then you have to go back and you have to wash it. It's the washing actually that takes forever. There's one part that was just very sort of bluish purple right there. This may be a little difficult to get off. We'll see how it goes. But I'm using up the last of the Cheviot. The Cheviot is like the Cheviot that would not end. I mean, if you're watching, it's lovely. I'll buy more from you next time I do a show with you. Yeah, definitely, when we get this transfer, it means it's getting very full, but it's our last layer. We can make it work. Way to encourage it is if you have a feeding brush, you can, or packing brush, you can pack it on, or you can do it manually like this, which does the same thing. Okay, put the last of the bamboo on. I will have finished 3 things. Yay. So it's because it's the second day. The process of the dyeing actually doesn't take all that long. It's the washing, because that you have to rinse everything. And when I dye things, I have the different. Usually we use kitty litter pans and buckets, but I try and put like all the blues in, one container, all the greens in another, browns, and so forth. Because I had a couple incidences early on where I'd use this really dark color called Deep Space. It's a really deep, deep purple. And I put it in the blue. I was like, well, it's a bright color because mohair is getting very fuzzy here. And you can see it's transferring over. I put it, when I rinsed it, it was in the sink with something else that was turquoise. And that color just, even though, I had rinsed and stuff like that, there was some transfer. And I was like, I can't do that. So now I'm very careful about, in the rinsing process, to rinse only very light colors. So I have a light blue pile and a dark blue pile and a dark purple and the light purple. And so it takes longer to rinse. And each of those individual colors have to go sit in dye fixative for at least 20 minutes. And so it's just a very long process. I mean, while one's sitting in the dye fixative, I can certainly start rinsing the other, but it still takes a really long time. Okay, let's put the last bit of the silk on there. So imagine that if I'm doing a double load. Excuse me. And it's also very physical because I'm, a lot of lifting of buckets with water in them and lots of pounding of things to rinse stuff out. I'd love to have Christmas music on in the background, but Facebook doesn't like that. I would get pulled for copyright infringement. Okay, let's do the last bit of bio nylon and then we'll be done. If you want to start guessing how much you think this is going to weigh, go right ahead. If you haven't done that before, it is typically a bat I make on Sebastian is 2 to 3 ounces. Not sure if I have any hints today. Okay, that is it. Clear the space here. And we'll take the bat off and we'll weigh it. So the person who gets closest gets some trophy emojis and bragging rights till next week. And by the way, next week, I'm doing one on New Year's Day, and that will be the last Battmaking with AriBo Arts until February. Okay, yeah, this is going to be hard to get off. So I always like to pull to the right, that way. If it looks like it's going to be hard to pull off, just try and pull it off in smaller chunks. Did a demo the other day, and I pulled hard enough that one of the clamps on Sebastian came off, and suddenly I was like pulling the whole carter up. If it gets sort of stuck, you can also sort of grab it and pull it to the right or the front or the back, or however you want to think about that. Okay. So that bat is broken. Okay. Now I'm just going to take this edge and press it back down into the doffer crease. Ooh, I like it with the black there. Yeah. There will not be 2 of these since I used all this fiber up. This one will be a solo bat. I am, by the way, in the January sale. They haven't released the schedule. Excuse me. The schedule. Darn, I drank all my tea. Now I can't help my throat. Okay, so before fluffing, this is what it looks like. So let's give it away. Put that on there. Tear it out. And then I'm just going to quickly do this. Things are still rearranged, so I can't get to my normal fluffing station. So I will take photos of this and post those. I think this is going to be pretty heavy. So I hope you've guessed your weight. This is your last chance to guess the weight. Oh my goodness. It is much bigger than I thought it was. Let me grab a piece of paper. Okay. This is a 3-ounce bat. It is 3.08 ounces. There's a lot more of that green than I thought there was. And I suspect the mohair is pretty heavy too. So yeah, so I will take photos. I'll put them up. I'll just take photos in a few minutes. Obviously I can't do it now because we're on my phone. But yeah, so I will post the photos later. Hopefully somebody has put a great name suggestion in there. Otherwise I'll think of something to name it. I want to wish you all very happy holidays. Happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year, though I will see you on the New Year. So next Wednesday, there is a spin along, by the way, on Thursday night still. And I'll be doing it this week and next week. And then after that, Lizette will be taking over while I'm away. So yeah, I wish you all a very pleasant day. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, and all of that. You all take care, and I'll see you around on Facebook.